Good evening and welcome to the Denasha Harrison Show here on Intellectual Radio, where you feed your brain. I am so happy to be here. Missed y'all last Wednesday, but I needed a break. So this is the Denasha Harrison Show here on Intellectual Radio. For all of you who have continued to support the show, really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Today's show is brought to you by Up and Going Cleaners. The number there is 219-200-2400. So for those who follow the show, for those who have seen the show or heard the show, then you all know that Up and Going um, Delivery Dry Cleaning Service has been a supporter of the show since the beginning of the show. So I'd just like to shout out Anthony McMath and the company again, 219-200-2400. And whether it's banquet halls, funeral homes, hotels, restaurants, uniforms, uh, choir robes, to include the residences that he goes to. Uh, Give him a call because Up and Going Mobile Dry Cleaners, it's a wonderful service where they come to you. And I use the service. I think I was one of his first customers, if not the first. So I have not been disappointed, and I really appreciate the support that he continues to give to the show. Uh, Continue to support the show, not only from our sponsor, but for you all who listen to the show. Feel free to reach out at 224-800-9719 on how you can continue to support the show. So, Up and Going Cleaners, 219-200-2400. I really appreciate the continued support, and I really appreciate the business that you're doing in the northern Indiana area, the south land of Chicago, Chicagoland area, south suburbs. You're doing your thing. Really appreciate you doing your thing, and I appreciate you not only supporting the show, but continuing to share how your business is going, because this is what this platform is all about, to include other things. So we love to highlight um, successful Black businesses, whether big or small. So I really appreciate it. So thank you for the support. So before I get into our topic for this evening with our guests, I'd just like to say a couple of words about what's coming up in a few days. Often I come here, I talk about the election cycles, I talk about my opinions, and I'm going to continue to do so because I think it's very important. It's very important that we exercise our rights to get involved beyond the rhetoric that we see on the 24-hour news cycle. You know, I got a videographer here. I know a little bit about um, media, and things get chopped up a lot, a whole lot. Now, it's no secret for those of you who are out there that know me, you know who I'm voting for. I'm happy to vote um, for Kamala Harris for president. I'm very happy to vote for that candidate, not just because of what she looks like, but because of her experience. And I would encourage all of you to do your homework beyond the 24-hour news cycle. If you're uncertain, if you're undecided, if you're unsure, go ahead and get involved because it is your right. Um, People have fought and died for your right to vote. You may not believe that your vote counts. So if you don't believe that your vote counts, then have the conversation with somebody. Do your research, look at the facts. Um, you might want to argue up and down, back and forth about electoral college procedures and things of that nature, but people, your vote does count. So please exercise your right to vote and don't just vote for one candidate over the other because of what you hear in the news. Fact check. You still have time to fact check. And if you have been undecided up until this point, let me encourage you to exercise your right to vote. I was on the phone with someone who uh, felt that their vote did not count and that they were not going to get involved. And we had a conversation about not only the candidates, but the actual right that needs to be exercised. So I just wanted to share that with you. And so, without further ado, I'm going to get into why my next guest is here. No stranger to the show, Mr. Corey Phillips. Thank you for coming. Welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you again. Thank you again for having me.
Absolutely. So, for those of you who don't know, or if you didn't see the shows a few shows back, we had J Mac on the show, which is family to us both, right? And you do a lot of his videography. for his media, for his videos, his music, things of that nature. So the first time J Mac was in the studio, and I can't remember which show that was, but if you watch my shows and go back a little bit, you'll see J Mac's show. The person that was behind the camera when he was in the studio was Mr. Corey Phillips. And then he also came on the show and spoke briefly about some of the things that he was doing, some of the stuff that you're involved in. We talked about Social Storm. I said I was going to have him come back on the show to talk a little bit more about Social Storm. Since then, this brother has traveled overseas, had some wonderful experiences that he's going to share. I'm going to stop talking so much and let him share his time in Greece and Spain and all the other couple of places that you went. And we're going to talk about how that influences your business today. So, again, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming. Good to have you. So, if you could scoot up just a little bit to the mic, talk to the people, and we're going to get into the business. And we're going to get into the workshops in the Loop, Chicago Loop area, the things that you've been doing, the 500 plus people that you've been speaking to, young folks about investing and financial freedom and stability and the education on how to do. But before we get into all that, man, how was Greece and the other places that you went to? Expound on that a little bit for us.
Yes. So, first off, I'll just introduce myself again. So, my name is Corey Phillips, founder of Social Storm, which is a media company teaching teens and young adults about investing and financial literacy. And to answer your question about Greece, for me, I feel like that was a very amazing experience to be overseas in Europe for the first time. And it's just an experience seeing a lot of ancient Greece, as well as different cultures from Athens, Rhodes, going to Istanbul, and meeting people from all across the world. And I'd say is something that a lot of people should be able to educate themselves about what life is like, not just in the United States, but overseas in different countries, and learn about how you can learn from different perspectives.
So, was this a business trip? Was it a vacation? How did you end up going over to Greece? And besides Greece, what are the other places that you went to? I know you said Istanbul, which is
Mhm.
Turkey.
Yeah.
So you went to Turkey, Greece. What other countries did you go to?
It was both. It was both Turkey and Greece. We went to two cities, and I went to Istanbul, and then we went to another city in Greece. I mean, in Turkey, and then we went to Rhodes, Santorini, um, and a couple other islands, and Athens as well during Greece. So it was more of just a family vacation with a lot of my brothers, my aunts and uncles, and we went over, had a family cruise, being able to go overseas because I've done cruise in the past, but it was mostly in the basically Jamaica or Mexico. But it's my
Caribbean
first time.
area,
Yeah,
yeah.
Caribbean. Yeah, mostly in the Caribbean. So it was our first time going over to Europe. So mostly just a family experience to see something that was a little bit different than what we're used to seeing.
So as you were in those areas, in those spaces, experiencing the things that you were experiencing, and we talked about your purpose,
Mhm.
doing your business, doing what you're doing. Were you able to correlate that experience or those experiences that you had with what you actually are doing with your company? And if so, how so?
Yes, so I'd say it's definitely something that has helped me continue to drive into my purpose because my main purpose is be able to help other people and inspire other people to be reach their fullest potential, but also find the purpose within their own lives. So being able to see different perspectives and meet people from different walks of life, I can able to learn from them and be able to see their perspective and see something outside of what we see. In the United States, we see within media, we see a lot of things or negativity that we see about people from overseas or outside of our own country, but you actually learn a lot just by talking to people that might be different than you, might come from a different place, speak a different language. And once you actually interact with them, you learn the culture and you learn what life is like. Everything's not just right or wrong, but it's just different, and we need to embrace people that are different than us and be able to have a greater understanding of each other. And I feel like that goes to my purpose where I'm able to just appreciate the things that I have and be able to also appreciate other people for their differences so that I can get a different perspective as well as I do my different presentations. I can gain knowledge from someone that's from a different walk of life, and I see how, especially overseas, I see a lot of people um, are unified. I see a lot in Istanbul and in Greece, there's a lot of families that work together within their cities. They have family businesses where you have different uncles, brothers, cousins, and they're referring people to other businesses. And that's something where I see being able to improve that here in the United States, being able to have a business atmosphere where we're able to help each other, not just for the money, but be able to just genuinely help others. And I feel like that's where we need more people in business to be able to not just be money hungry, but be more purpose driven. And that's where I've made a lot of content, not just about money, but about the purpose and passion where people's lives can go. And money is just something that you get from providing value to others.
So I was just about to ask you that concerning the formula. You kind of beat me to it, but I'm going to ask you anyway.
Okay.
So what do you think the formula is for the places that you've been to and traveled to, the things that you've seen with family working so closely together? What is the formula for them, and how do you bridge that to incorporate that with what you're doing with Social Storm?
Yes. So what I said, the formula I'd say is being able to be more people to be more selfless and more just being able to provide value without even having to ask people for it. Just being able to, whatever your skill set may be, that might be in public speaking, that might be able to connect with people, that might be able to have that specific skill set and be able to help someone else that might lack in that skill set, and not even ask for anything, but just do it from the kindness of your heart. And like for myself, that's what I like to do within business. I want to be able to connect people and give them an opportunity so that they can be successful. Like I know a lot about stocks. If I know someone that knows a lot about something else, I can say what I can provide value to you is about how you can manage your money, and then bridge people that might need a photographer, a videographer, to someone that might need an artist or content creator. Then I can bridge the gap for that. And that's not just for I need any money involved, but it's just being able to make other people's lives easier and more efficient. And I feel like at the end of my life, I want to be able to add to society. I don't want to just live with a lot of money, but I want to be able to add and contribute and improve someone else that might look like me, that might not look like me, but be able to put other people in a better position so that they can reach their passions and purpose.
So you spoke about 500 plus that you spoke to.
Mhm.
What were the age limits or age? Yeah, what were the ages of those people that you spoke to?
So I've spoken to kids as young as first grade, all the way up to people in their 20s, or people that, for as far as my workshops, but I've even spoken to some parents that might have been up into their 50s and 60s as well.
So from first grade to 50s and 60s, you're talking to people about financial literacy.
Yeah.
Were the children receiving it just as much as the 50 and 60-year-olds?
Yes. So yeah, oftentimes a lot of the young kids that might be in first grade, second grade actually are some of the most engaged listeners, because they're the ones that kind of still excited. They're just learning about some of the topics, and some of them actually know some of the answers already. But it's a different approach as far as how I give out the information. Like some of the kids, I might do different problems, ask different questions, or ask for different situations. And as I give them more information about compound interest, about stocks, about ownership, about building wealth, they get more excited, asking me more questions. As soon as I know it, I see 5 kids with their eyes just wide open, asking questions about how I can do this, how can I get started investing, how can I you turn this $5 to $10, and be able to tell other kids about how they can build wealth. Like, for example, I did a workshop with Concerned Christian Men a couple months back, and they came in and did another workshop. And then I had some of the kids that were from the first workshop and there in the second time. And I was like, so who here remembers the last time we talked about? And about 5 to 10 of them already remembered and started telling the other young kids about what they learned from the last time, so that they were caught up to where we were the next presentation. So it was big. It was just amazing to see other young kids being passionate, but also helping one of their brothers or sisters in the same room to get onto that level and to get into entrepreneurship, get into stocks.
So that was one of the examples about bridging the gap, right? We talked more on the lines of videography and photography, things of that nature initially when we started talking about what I'm doing, what you're doing, what J-Mac's doing. Bridging the gap, I think, is the common thread. Would you agree?
Yes.
So with financial literacy, just knowledge sharing. I think at the end of the day, to share that knowledge with all who's open to listen, it's a win-win because you're creating opportunities to build a foundation for vision.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people in America go for the provision. They go for the cash. They go for the bag,
Mhm.
right? But how do you establish that foundation so that that vision continues to be more than just the money? And I think that what you mentioned with those families overseas, um, they have a formula that we just talked about that goes beyond the monetary gain in the moment.
Mhm.
They're actually talking about legacy.
Mhm.
Uh, does it come up often in your workshops about knowledge over the bag, about foundation building over the right now, about um, legacy over it just being about me? Does that come up often in your workshops?
Yes, yes. Oftentimes when I talk in my workshops, I say everything starts with your mindset. It doesn't matter how much money you make or whatever you have, all the things that you have, if you don't have the mindset to build wealth and the mindset of helping others. Because you see a lot of players, you see NFL players, you see a lot of artists, you see a lot of entertainers. They make all this money and they have all this fame, but they don't have the mindset to build wealth and they end up going bankrupt. They end up losing it all and not really knowing it within themselves. And you see a lot of successful people that continue to build wealth over time. They have a good knowledge of self. They know about who they are, what they love to do, and they double down on what they're great at. And they happen to provide it more value than any other person. And that's what it is to building wealth. So I say being able to look less at the materialistic goods like shoes, expensive cars, expensive clothes, and think about how the money you build right now can help create multi-generational wealth for your family. Imagine if we work together to invest in real estate. If we start investing into 529 plans for our children instead of just putting that into something that doesn't help benefit us, and be able to make our money buy back our freedom. Every dollar that I say when I talk to the kids, anybody, I say every dollar you put into the market is money buying back your freedom, because over time our money just goes down in value. We just hold up cash, and we want to be able to look at investing in a way that's not necessarily giving up anything, but you're actually freeing yourself down the line. So I try to emphasize that you need to be able to understand and prioritize the things that matter in your life versus the things that distract us from all the noise, negativity that we see within our community.
So I'm sure that you have a lot of people that listen to you, whether it's social media or when it's right in front, face to face. There's a lot of people who are open minded, a lot of people in the middle, and I'm sure you've come across people that are closed minded as well about the message. So, what is your formula? What is your secret to meet someone where they are to try to get them open to receive what you're trying to tell them?
So when I start off, I look at some of these situations when I speak to some kids or some people in certain environments. It doesn't make sense for me to just talk about, oh, you can make $1 million if you might not be in a home where you might be living paycheck to paycheck, might not have two parents, or you might not even know where your next meal is. So you kind of have to kind of look at people and ask them what their life is like, and understand that each and every one of us isn't the same person, and some people have to go through certain things which is harder than others, and understand it's just not, oh, I can just throw $500 into the stock market, when that's not true. Some people might have to start with as little as $5, or just start getting the proper foundation of building up a savings account, or just having a basic financial foundation within their life. So be able to just know how they can start, kids can start doing stuff as far as making money on the side, whether that's raking leaves or building up that work ethic or having that delayed gratification with things.
So, you're individualizing the message.
Mhm,
So, the truth is there,
mhm,
but you're individualizing the message. I think that's a great way to reach people and kind of meet them where they are. So, how important do you think it is to know exactly what you're talking about when you're talking about what you're talking about,
Mhm.
right? So, you definitely have the knowledge and you understand how to individualize the message so that you can reach people where you can meet people where they are. For yourself, I'm curious, how did you learn what you know? Who was that example for you to motivate you to start looking at, financial literacy and spreading the message?
Yes. So I'd say a lot of that started off with my parents. My parents being able to um, raise my brothers and I very well, put us in an environment where we're able to be free thinkers and be able to explore our passions within our life. And it started with me being able to work during COVID. I wasn't able to play sports because we were out of school, so I had to get my first job. And when I got my first job, I'm like thinking of ways how I can make my money last beyond the summer. And once I did, I was like, looked up on the internet on YouTube, what are things that people that are wealthy do? And just look up stocks, real estate, business. And then I was just very intrigued with me being an athlete. I'm always wanting to put myself ahead of the curve. So I just started looking up different videos online. I started reading different books like Rich Dad Poor Dad, Money Master the Game, uh, many other books as well. Rich Dad Poor Dad, Money Master the Game, A Random Walk Down Wall Street, a bunch of real estate books. I started attending a lot of different seminars, and I continued to educate myself, but also be able to educate myself, but also implement the things that I was learning. Because that's it's investing and getting all these things is you learn throughout the process. You don't just a lot of people get all the information now, but they don't actually execute. So I was able to just read, continue to look at what's happening within the markets and just go out there and execute. And over time, I started getting outperforming the S&P 500, having 200% return since I started because I continued to look at what's happening in the markets, cutting out the noise, looking at the data, looking at which companies are actually doing well and the ones that aren't doing well, and continuing to put myself in a mindset where I have delayed gratification and rather put in the work now than put it in later because it takes 10 years to master something. So if I'm able to start at 16, that means I can go and master it by my mid to late 30s. And a lot of more young people need to be able to put that into perspective that you can be able to do great things while you're young. You
Right.
can be someone that can go out there and be an engineer, be out there, be motivational speaker. You just have to put the work in now while you're young. It doesn't matter if everyone else is trying to party, trying to fit in, but the main thing is we have a lot of people that just want to follow, but we don't have enough leaders.
That's right.
And we just need more people to go out there and lead in those positive things and about investing in the market and start being engineers, being people that are thought leaders, being positive media outlets, all those positive things. And I'm like, there's no one else doing it. I can be someone that's going to do that because I see a need for that within our community of positive Black men, show other Black men or other people across the world that they can reach their full potential, that they can see something outside the neighborhood or outside whether their circle or negativity they may see.
You answered you answered my question before I asked it, but I'm asking anyway. You talked about the noise before, so the fact that you're educating yourself about the processes, I believe that that's what helps cancel out the noise.
Mhm.
But for you, when you were doing your research initially, and you were on the internet, there's a lot of things going on the internet. A lot of people telling you the how tos.
Mhm.
How did you navigate between the truth and the BS that was on the internet in order to gain the knowledge that you have to know that you're doing the right thing about what you're learning about?
So what I would do is first before I went on any YouTube video, I would learn from the people that were successful themselves. I learned from people that would be like Warren Buffett or people that would be like Mark Cuban. Look at the greatest investors and learn from what they've done and going off of their foundations and be able to invest in the long term, invest in myself and these books before I can just look at some random person on the internet that might just be trying to get clicks and views. So I knew the core foundations of being an investor and being someone that core principles so that I can cut out all the extra noise, because most of the people that are successful don't really listen to all the negativity, the news, all that. They just go off of what's actually given off of the data, going off of what's proven, and all the things that's just actually make sense towards what's actually happening within stocks and in business and whatever thing I might research.
Do you feel that there's a true formula for being successful financially when you are um, dealing with the stock market, or do you feel like it's more of a chance thing? You throw it at the wall, see what sticks. You get lucky. Some stocks do great that you didn't think was going to do so great. Is there a mix of that, or is it, you know, mostly formula or mostly luck?
I feel like it's mostly formula for most people. Before I say anything, you consult with a financial advisor, consult with anybody before you make any financial decisions. But if you invest in the market over the long term into good companies, you will have be up 70% of the time. If you invest into S&P 500, which is the top 500 US companies, you invest in that index. You have your Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Coke, all the top United States companies. If you invest in that, it's had an average rate of return since 1950, 10%. Some years been up more, some years has been down. This year's been up 22%. But if you hold that index over the long run, the market's been up, proven over the last 50 years, 50 to 100 years. So if you're betting if you're trying to pick one individual stock. But if you have an index like an all-star team of basketball players, but for businesses, then you'll continue to always have others, top all-stars, contribute for companies or people that might not perform. So that's having a very diversified portfolio of companies that are the number one or two in the industry, have a positive cash flow, have different CEOs that are innovative, not being reactive but proactive, and in the industries that are continuing to be around for the next 5 to 10 years.
So you can actually apply DEI to the financial process.
Mhm.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion
Yes.
actually does go hand in hand with financial literacy. So let's talk about how you get in front of people and start talking to people,
Mhm.
right? So people want to know more about financial literacy. They want to know more about your network, right? Because Social Storm does more than financial literacy. Do they pick up the phone and call you, or are you soliciting for crowds to talk to? How is it that you're putting yourself in a position to give these people out here this knowledge? How does that work for you? What's the process?
Yeah. So what we've done a series of different workshops. For example, we hosted one in September. We had a financial literacy event, an entrepreneurship event. We're going to start hosting monthly events into 2025. We're planning one in December as we speak. We do many events, we do many online lives where people can come and ask us questions about doing interviews with different professionals. So we do different series of financial literacy, of course, but we also do series where we speak to different entrepreneurs that might be in Gen Z or different people that have done great things within the community, so that young people can get a big perspective. Another thing is myself and my business partner, shout out Ian Alphonse on Instagram. We both always go to the many community events. So you might always see us, whether that's at a business event or a community event in South or West Side. So we always show our face, wearing our merch, Social Storm, on us, and always providing value, showing out to people's events, because that's very important to be able to support other entrepreneurs, because a lot of people have these great ideas, but they don't have the support and guidance from other people. So we're always in the community. We're hosting different events, and then we're just about to start our own community where people can learn about stocks on a weekly basis. So they can join our monthly, weekly community where we do different calls talking about what's happening in the stock market. Different guest speakers come within our events. So we want to be able to open that up to people that want to learn more about the stock market. You can always reach out to me on social media, Corey Phillips 3 or Social Storm Network. And I'm always posting different things of what's happening in the market, what's happening with different companies, how people can get started literally today with opening an account. I can explain to all those people. I'm always open, never too high to answer a couple questions or help someone each and every day, whether it's even my college campus or at events or anywhere. I'm always trying to provide value and be in rooms where I can be a resource to people.
Okay. Well, so you talked about the Nasdaq earlier. So we got the Nasdaq, the NISI, uh, we got commodities here, mercantile exchange, things of that nature. So to include a couple others, correct?
Yeah.
So if I invest in the Fortune 500 index, for example, of course, they're not just doing investments here in the United States. They have investments that are being done overseas as well, correct?
Yes.
So, question for you. Let's say the places that you went to, um, if you wanted to make some investments into those economies, we talked about Ghana earlier. You want to make investments into Ghana, not not from the United States and the companies out, but from those companies that are there. You want to actually go there and make the investment. How do you do that? So if you want to invest in Ghana, or if you want to invest in Greece, over in Athens, like how do you do that?
Yeah. So first, before you even like invest somewhere, it's very important for you to know what the landscape is, know the people that work there. So, for me, I know before I eventually want to invest in overseas in Africa, continue to build relationships with people with Ghana. Been to different events in Chicago where people within diaspora continue to connect and grow. And you see a lot of infrastructure. A lot of people with the United States think about, oh, there's only investment in here, but there's tremendous opportunity and growth in Africa. That's one of the most resourceful continents in the world. That
The
we're
most.
the most resources and the youngest population. So there's a lot of growth, and you see a lot in Ghana, and I see different people within our community starting to branch out overseas. I just looked at this past week. This media company called Earn Your Leisure is doing a commercial project over in Ghana, which is not just for basically just helping out themselves out, but being able to have like a guiding place for other people within the African diaspora from the United States or in Ghana or all any parts of the world to be able to learn more about the culture and make it a better place for people to interact. So being able to, for me, is just being able to build up the relationships with people there, being able to educate on what industries are being sustainable. I know real estate is there, a lot of farming as well. Being able to educated about what industries are prominent in the area you want to invest in, and then also building the relationship so it doesn't just benefit yourself, but also benefit the people that live in that community as well.
I think it's important. You said something about noise before.
Mhm.
I believe that one of the things to help cancel out the noise is you educating yourself on the processes, right? Social media is so busy. There's so many platforms that is throwing so much stuff out there. And I believe that it's so much harder for people to concentrate on what the truth is in order to reach their goals. I think in a lot of cases, a lot of people can't even formalize a plan to reach different goals because they don't even know what goals they want to reach
Mhm.
because they're worried about the right now. They're worried about the bag,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
They're worried about the day to day. One of my experiences when I lived in Niger, in Central West Africa, a city called Niamey, I saw physically how everyone lived for the right now and they lived day to day. It's not by choice that they live day to day. They had to live day to day. So, for example, to walk to the river from some houses was 3 miles, 3 miles to the river to draw water, 3 miles to bring it back to the homes. That would be for the cooking and the washing in the morning, the cleaning, and then guess what they had to do? They had to go another 3 miles to the river, draw
Mhm.
water, come another 3 miles back, and start preparing lunch and dinner. And then that evening, they may have made a third trip,
Mhm.
but mostly it was two trips back and forth um, through the dirt to the river to draw water to come back. That's day to day. So, you know, when you have the physical challenges of the day to day, that affects the mental challenges that you have to get over when you think in the day to day. One of the things that I saw one of the many things that I saw was a lot of people wanting more out of their daily, but not having the support to receive more so that they can change their mindset by having their conditions change. The conditions that people were in was a day to day situation. And not only was it the water, I'm using that as an example because, you know, I'm sitting there thinking, man, if somebody would just, run a line, if somebody would just, lend them a truck, or provide water, beyond the river. I was not there in that capacity to get involved in civil politics. I was there for something else. But just to see how um, how the physical day to day can affect the mental is amazing. And so, taking that example, here we are in America. A lot of people are living day to day. A lot of people are living day to day because of financial illiteracy, because of not having the support to learn the how tos, not having the support to tap into the institutions, the organizations, the different programs that will give them a bigger head start, coupled with financial literacy, so that they won't go back into the situation that they are being helped out of.
Mhm.
So, reason that I'm saying that is because I had a question for you. Besides what you're doing, are there institutions that are partnering with your vision to do just that? Um, give the um, financial backing and support that can go with the infrastructure that you're trying to build out. Are there institutions and programs that are assisting you on your vision?
Right now, as of right now, I've had many mentors. I've Angelica Jones, Golden Angel Management. She's helping me be able to cultivate my idea and to actually implement it. Also, many people like Sister Africa, Sarita Love, Chancellor Mentoring. They've all provided opportunities for me to be able to be in different rooms, opportunities to connect with other individuals. At this time, we're currently just working with different organizations in the talks of cultivating actual events. But as of right now, we've been basically doing it ourselves for now and just partnered as far as different workshops.
Because you need that financial leverage.
Mhm.
I just want to
Yes.
jump in there and say that you need that financial leverage to help meet some of those people where they are,
Mhm.
um, so that what you're giving them can actually, you know, can blossom into uh, a pathway forward to financial freedom.
Mhm.
So just wanted to mention that. So with these conversations that you're having, do you feel like they're viable conversations and that they're actually fitting into the they're fitting into your vision? Do you feel like you're making headway with possibly getting the backing that you would need to implement with your vision?
Yes, yes, most definitely. I feel like we provide a lot of value to a lot of people within our community because oftentimes a lot of this is overlooked in traditional education or within our communities. And a lot of people have started to take notice on what we've actually been doing, started to take us seriously as far as giving us opportunities to speak at different events. You all are allowing us back on this stage. So for me, I don't look at different ways or things that I don't have, but I appreciate the things that I do have and how I can make the most out of any opportunity. Being able to utilize social media, utilize my connections to be able to just provide value to other people, and eventually we'll get to the point where people might be able to back us in what we're doing. But ultimately, for me, I'm still just looking about how I can get better and provide the most value to other people, so that I can be able to just shape that, regardless of if someone decides to or not, but just be proactive and continue to do what I'm doing at the best of my abilities.
So your vision's in place,
Yes.
and as long as the vision's in place and the vision's being worked, then the provisions are going to come.
Yes.
Hey, I had to play devil's advocate. I had to, but we're going to continue this conversation, and I appreciate you coming. What we're going to do is we're going to take a quick musical break, short break, but a quick um, break in order for us to come back, talk about some other points. So, if you're joining me on the Denasha Harrison Show, we're talking with Corey Phillips. We're talking about Social Storm, financial literacy. So thank you for joining me. I will be right back, and we're going to continue with the conversation here on intellectualradio.com. Welcome back to the Denasha Harrison Show here on Intellectual Radio, where we feed our brain. You are listening to the conversation with myself and Mr. Corey Phillips with Social Storm. We've been having a wonderful conversation. If you're joining us just now, we're talking about the vision for financial literacy for all of those who will benefit from what you're doing. And we've talked about the how-tos. We talked about investing not only domestically but internationally, and how you should consult a financial advisor before you do any money moves. So with that, I really appreciate you coming on the show. And what I would like for you to do is talk about the other people that are on your team, the other people that have been with you from day one, the people that you just met that's furthering your vision. Let's hear about those folks.
Yeah, so first off, I wouldn't be able to be in the situation I am today without my parents. They've been able to provide me the opportunity to be able to be who I am, like I mentioned earlier. But they've also been able to put me in a situation where I'm able to go to school, go to college, where I can learn all this information. And I wouldn't be able to be where I am without them today. And I wouldn't be here without my business partner, Ian Alphonse. He's not here today. But he's someone that we've worked on many projects together, met him in college for about a year now, and we've been working together as far as some of these different events. And he's someone that more people should start to take notice on doing great things in the community, especially here on the show. You might need another guest, someone that coming from the South Side of Chicago, now being able to inspire other young people to reach their full potential that they don't have to be a product of their environment, but they can be someone that's very positive. And he's someone that's supported me, and we've been right side by side in everything we've done as far as the different events or being able to connect with different individuals, and someone that's putting a lot of work in alongside with me that also needs to put some more light on him so that we can see some of the work that he's been doing within the community. So it's not just me, but it's him and I both together doing Social Storm. And he's someone that I wouldn't be where I am today without him. And also some of my mentors, Angel Alicia Jones, the CEO of Golden Angel Management, is my mentor. She mentored us for about the last year and a half now, be able to help us structure our business, be able to be more build our credibility up as young people in business, being able to provide opportunities, different events. She's also been able to like help instill us a discipline as far as business. Sister Africa, she's someone who's always opened doors for us as far as meeting different people, organizations. Sarita Love, another person that we've always connected with, and someone that's always given us opportunities to speak and connect with individuals. And all those people will have continued to just pour into us, and we wouldn't be able to do all these things without those people. So I need to be able to give those people credit, just like give other people credit, just like give them their credit because they helped me. So eventually I'll get to the point where I'll be able to help someone else down the line.
That's awesome. Not only are you giving them their shout outs, but because of what you're doing, they are getting their credit. And so I would love to meet those people who are part of your journey, and love to continue to work with you on what you're doing, because I believe that it's very important that you have that financial stability and foundation so that you can go ahead and further your legacy beyond you. So, with that, you talked about your business partner and you all getting out there doing different things. What is your next event coming up?
Our next event, we're actually planning to do an event in the middle of December. We haven't put the final events to final plans together, but we plan on doing an event in December where we're going to do a networking event with different entrepreneurs. I met another 21-year-old entrepreneur, and Ian and I, we decided we want to connect with him and collaborate because we don't see a lot of young people doing great things, but everyone's doing things individually. So we want to kind of emphasize that we can merge and be a power team together. As far as being young people, why not have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 young people on the same page doing
That's right.
different things, working together? And that's true unity that we need to see within our community. And that's one thing that we want to emphasize going to 2025, be able to connect and collaborate with other young people within our community to show that we are stronger together than just we are apart. And that's where the theme of our next networking event in December. And then we're also planning to work with other organizations doing multiple workshops, not just on financial literacy, but also being able to build up the mindset of being a well-rounded individual, because it doesn't matter how much money you have if your health's not right, if your mental health's not right, if your relationships aren't right, or if you don't have the right things in place.
Your health is truly your wealth.
Mhm.
And as you continue to build villages, those villages are going to need more bridges built as well. And so to have those bridges being built, bridges of financial literacy, villages that surround you and your partner, and how you are going to go ahead and surround others, and how you're just going to keep it moving, I think is a wonderful thing. And I believe that you're not only living your purpose, but you're definitely on the right track for people who are trying to figure it out. So I'm looking forward to getting those people that are open minded, but undereducated in the room so that you can help them move forward and find that door to financial freedom. Before we go, uh, tell people how they can get in touch with you.
Okay. Yeah. So people can reach out to me on social media at Corey Phillips 3 on Instagram. Post a lot of content information there. Also, Social Storm Network. We post a little more content as well. Make sure to follow my business partner Ian Alphonse. Ian Ean.Alphonse Alphonse. Make sure to follow him as well, and or meet send me an email at socialstormco1@gmail.com. And we'll always respond back, and feel free to reach out to us if you need anything or any questions about what we're doing.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm always going to support family. I support you in what you're doing, and I'm looking forward to seeing you continuing to do great things. The last time you were on the show, you had some things in the works. You've accomplished those, and you still got some things in the works. So when you come back on the show, we want to continue to hear about how you're progressing and how you're walking in your vision and doing your thing. So, Mr. Phillips, thank you for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. You're always welcome here. Let's go ahead and continue to educate people concerning financial literacy and other things, networking. And again, diversity, equity, and inclusion goes hand in hand with financial literacy. Your health is your wealth. So if you're not healthy enough to take this journey, then you have to take a step back and take a look at what it is that you can do to improve your health so that you can enjoy the fruits of your labor, so to speak. So thank you all for listening. This is the Denasha Harrison Show. We will see you next Wednesday with another topic that you'll have to wait to see. But again, I appreciate all the support. I appreciate the love for the Denasha Harrison Show. I appreciate the love for the Intellectual Radio family. We are one family where we feed our brain. If this show is not for you, there might be another show that's for you, and vice versa. If you saw a show on Intellectual Radio that you felt was a little different for you, hey, come over to the Denasha Harrison Show. Let's see what we're talking about over here and see if it fits. But donate, subscribe, do what you can to support independent radio shows like this one. And we really appreciate all your love and all your support. And again, if the levee don't break and the creek don't rise, we will see you next week on the Denasha Harrison Show. Thank you and take care.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, how you feeling?